Hello, everyone, and welcome. Uh, we're live. We're doing this, and we're going to rip some BRs today. We're going to do some playoff-only best ball. I'm going to tweet out that we're live, and see if we can get anyone in here, because that'd be pretty fun. So, give me one moment, and I will figure out how to do that. Oh God, location error. We are not off to the best start. Oh God, I think I just have to refresh it. Let us see. There we go. Okay. So we are waiting for some. I'm going to try to tweet the link out. So this is an interesting week here because we have so many teams on bye. So it gets pretty thin pretty fast. The scroll down options are just not as enticing as they are some weeks. So it makes for some interesting decisions here. I am clearly not as good at vamping as some, but all right. Oh, and Peter Overzet in the room. All right. Ripping some BRs. Come hang out. All right. And now we see if we can lure anyone in. Oh my God, I'm not sharing my screen. I still have this welcome situation up. That is not what I want. There we go. All right. All right. So we are here next to Pete, one of the legends of this whole streaming enterprise, and we'll see what he does. I'm going to try to cross post this in the promotion channel of the Pete Overzet Discord, the Deposit Kingdom. One of the better communities out there, I have to say. So we see CMC goes first. No fear of the missing Purdy for that gentleman there. Just give me a moment. We are on the clock. I think I want to take a chance here on Nico Collins this week. Snead is still out for Tennessee. I think I'm a little worried about Gibbs. I don't think he's a whole heck of a lot better than Montgomery. I think Kenneth Walker's a great play. And I just don't know if Gibbs is where I want to go in this particular draft. I have no problem with him, but we're gonna open with Nico Collins and see what we can do. So Gibbs predictably goes. In all likelihood, though, I do like the idea of having some piece of this Detroit offense here. So I'm going to take Monty. Monty's cheaper on DK. He's cheaper here in relative draft cost. But frankly, Montgomery just very reliably gets that goal line work. Gibbs gets there by efficiency. Monty gets there in volume. I'm gonna roll the dice with the volume here. So I'm, going to post this link again in self-promotion, if I can find it. Give me 1 second. This is, I know, excellent content here as I try to do this. I promise I will get better. Live underdog drafts currently doing where all right, we've shared the link. Let's see if we can get anyone to join joining us. A lot of fun. Always more fun when we get people to hang out and do this with. All right, so Pete takes Kareem Hunt, which is unfortunate. I think he is a particularly great play this week. I think I'm going to go the Josh Jacobs route. I think San Francisco might be kind of in free fall. I think if you don't get Jacobs here, it gets really thin, especially with Hunt gone. It's unfortunate. You could get Hunt in the 6th round early this week, and you can't do that anymore because Pacheco's out. So Hunt is an absolutely great play. But Pete wisely gobbles him up there. That matchup with Carolina is absolutely outstanding. So if you followed my stream last week, you will have seen I was very big on this Sutton, on Cortland Sutton. I like him a lot this week. I think Bo Nix and Sutton could absolutely demolish this Raiders secondary that is missing some key pieces. And so that's another one of these sort of crutches that I find myself leaning on. But I think it's another great play, and let's see if anyone else agrees and if we're able to get that. A couple people need quarterbacks, and those that do, they both have 0 wide receivers. So this is going to get thin fast. Hopefully we can get Sutton. If not, this might be a situation where I want to stack Stroud with Collins. Or create another stack, so stay tuned. Richards and Downs is going to be interesting. I don't mind that going up against Montgomery. I don't have too much. I've done about 20 of these, I think. I have not built that yet, but I do like it as a potential option. So Pete takes Jonathan Taylor. It's an interesting pick. Detroit's run defense has been really strong this year, so that's a little bit of a scary matchup. But when we look at running back, it gets a little gross, to be honest with you. And nobody's going to have quite that guaranteed volume, with the exception of maybe Tyrone Tracy, because he's really probably... so Sutton goes. I don't think I want to do naked Knicks lineup. So if I do Stroud, I would want Ridley. So I'm going to take Ridley. I'm going to take Ridley and then Stroud. And I took Ridley first because he has his quarterback, so I was not in danger of losing Stroud. So this team will end up CJ Stroud at quarterback, Montgomery and Jacobs at running back, Nico and Ridley against each other, and then Cade Otton, who I like even with Evans coming back. I think he's still going to be very involved in the offense this week. So, all right, here we go. We will take him, and that concludes the first draft of the day. Well, let's run it back again. All right. Once again, this time we're in the second spot. No famous streamers in with us this time. That's okay. I am going to try to get some people in, see if we can get anyone to come hang out, hopefully. If not, that's okay too. We do it for the love of the game here on the Chad Candles YouTube channel. So just allow me one moment, please. Going to share the link. If you do find yourself in here, I would love if you became a subscriber. That helps me out a lot. It'd be great to get the algorithm showing this to more people. And, come hang out. All right, so A-Chain goes, do I want to be the CMC guy? I'm kind of doing a bit of a soft fade on McCaffrey this week. I have a lot of worries with Purdy out. I think the way to attack Tennessee is through the air. They have a fairly good run defense, and I say that as I draft Joe Mixon. But I do think Houston is going to win this game, and probably fairly handily. I don't see Mixon's workload as under any kind of threat, and I have concerns about the entire San Francisco offense this week. So I am going to take Mixon here. It remains to be seen if I'm going to just end up with a hard fade on McCaffrey this week, which just historically is a really terrible idea. But I think there's a little bit of logic to it this week. So we will see. I just did a Collins team last, so I do like pieces of this Houston offense, and we do have that sort of guaranteed run back because nobody's taking Calvin Ridley. He's basically free. So if you do think this game has a potential to shoot out, that's someone that you can use as a bring back. Welcome viewer. Thank you for joining. I'm glad to have you wherever you are out there. It's always very exciting when we get some folks in here. So after I take Mixon, McCaffrey goes. So nothing too off the board. That's a little early for Trey McBride, in my opinion. Especially tight end. Tight end doesn't really thin out too badly, right? There's, in these BRs when you got 6 spots, and here there's 5 tight ends you're fairly comfortable with, and even going down to Jonnu or Henry is in play. I like Cole Kmet as a punt, so don't really love taking McBride that early unless I have something very specific I am trying to do with my at the tight end spot. Once again, I say that and I'm like really tempted to take Brock Bowers, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I am going to go with DK Metcalf against the Cardinals. I think Seattle has a lot of different pieces you can use. If I don't get someone from that Detroit game, I do like having either Metcalf or JSN. And so I think Metcalf there makes sense. I would have taken either Gibbs or Montgomery had one of them fallen to me, but they did not. So now that I'm kind of frozen out of Lions, I would like a Seahawk, I think. Bowers is really a volume play. They're the one thing where Denver can be beaten through the air is tight end, and Bowers is just the guy. Jacoby Myers is a psyop. Don't let them get you, chat. Bowers is who you want if you're going to take a Raider, and that's what I'll do here. I might be setting up a Sutton Knicks stack. I would love to get Kareem Hunt here. Again, it's a shame because I will get Kareem Hunt because they both have 2 running backs. You used to be able to get Hunt in the 6th round. He was free. People thought Pacheco was going to come back. Unfortunately, it is at the cost of that Sutton stack, so we're not going to be doing that. I'm just going to want to think about who I am taking with my next pick. That's why I'm not snapping Hunt here. I don't mind taking Harrison as a bring back on Metcalf. I think that's what I'm going to plan to do. I find it fairly unlikely anyone is going to take Geno Smith if I do end up. I find it unlikely that Geno and Kyler Murray are going to get taken, and that's who I want. Other options, naked Anthony Richardson is going to be extremely popular this week. Almost to the point where I think it makes sense to take downs with him. Like, I think there's a world where naked Richardson is more popular than stacked Richardson, which is somewhat uncommon for quarterbacks, but people really have this notion that Richardson just isn't great at throwing the ball. Downs, there was an idea that Downs is just better with Flacco than with Richardson. Again, I think Downs is playable against Detroit. I mean, the Vegas line suggests that the Colts are going to be playing from behind, should be pass volume. Detroit can give up big chunk plays, which we've seen Downs capable of getting. So I do like that play there. Did someone take Kyler? Is Kyler gone? He is gone. Okay, so we are not going to get Kyler. Hopefully we do get Geno. I don't know why the guy with no the guy with no Seahawks would take him. You never know. If so, we would take Geno. He does not. Okay, so we'll put it on autopilot. We'll take Geno next. So we'll end up with Geno, Mixon, Hunt, Metcalf, Harrison, and Bowers. So I like this team. I think it's well put together. And let's move on to the next one. Waiting for 4. I might do some playoff best balls. It's a really fun format. It's one where I'm still learning, but the gist is make sure that at the end of the day you can have a Super Bowl matchup that has 5 live players in it. I think there's a lot more game theory. I think you're also playing against people that don't really know what you're doing. If you're in one of those rooms, you'll see people just like drafting off ADP, and so there's definitely an edge in those games. And so it's kind of fun because these BRs you get in, it's just like rooms of killers. People know what they're doing. This game's a lot more figured out than the playoff version, or even if playoff is figured out, it hasn't been disseminated as much. You get a lot more casual players just like building all-star teams that look really fun, but have no chance to actually win the tournament because you get to the Super Bowl and they might have maximum of 3 or 4 people in the game because they have a whole bunch of one-off players or stacks of 2, and so you can't build like that, or you're just stone dead by the time you get to when you get to the Super Bowl. But that's not the game we're in right now. We're on BR, and hopefully we get A-Chain here because, again, I don't want to have to make the CMC decision. I think if he takes A-Chain, I will take CMC. I don't think I want to have absolute 0. I don't have any CMC yet. So he does take A-Chain, leaving me in this... You know what? I'm going to make the stand. I'm going to say I don't want CMC. If I don't want CMC, what do I want? This is brutal. This is also not the best content you're ever going to consume. I'll take CMC. I'm going to be a coward. I don't want to fade CMC. I don't want to have absolute 0. But I don't love it. I don't love it, but again, Shanahan is good at scheming things. There's a world where CMC just gets a million dump offs because I think they have Allen at quarterback. He could really just be the entire engine of the offense, and San Francisco has to win to make the playoffs. So they're not like, they got to go for broke. They can't hold back. So there shouldn't be any limitations on McCaffrey. And, Green Bay, it's a tough matchup, but nothing. I mean, you're never scared to start CMC because of an opponent. I do worry a lot without Purdy that this whole thing kind of grinds to a halt. I mean, they've lost Purdy, they've lost Ayuk. Debo does not look himself. But again, we'll see if the plane can continue to fly with just one wing here. I think I'm going to take Montgomery over Walker, which might be a little bit galaxy-brained. I want a piece of Denver when possible. And again, like I said, absent Denver, I'd like some of this Seattle-Arizona game. I think that's a couple of bad defenses facing each other. Walker's had a couple down weeks, but Hunt is already going in the 3rd round, which is pretty crazy. So I think at this point I will take JSN. We'll do something a little different. Cardinals have been pretty bad against slot receivers, I believe. JSN's usage last week, even with Metcalf back, remained really strong. I think there was some fear that Metcalf would come back and eat JSN's lunch. That hasn't really happened. It's really Lockett that's kind of on their way to 0. So no problem there. Again, I like Metcalf. I'm taking some Metcalf. But you see here, you got Seahawk. Like, people are trying to get access to this game environment. So Daniels, McLaurin, Stackos, that's pretty comfy for people. I like Noah Brown as a really sneaky scroll the F down guy, especially on Daniels teams. He's not being drafted, former Cowboy. If you believe in the revenge narrative, this is the one. They don't really move. I believe it's McLaurin plays on the right side of the field, and that's where Dallas defends better. I was reading something where McLaurin might have a little bit of a tough go, and if that's true, sorry, I am up, and what do I want to do? I'm going to take Sutton here, assuming no one's taken Nix. Did someone take Nix? I don't think anyone took Nix. I see Nix. No one's taken Nix. Hopefully we get Nix here, because otherwise I'm not going to be super thrilled, and this is another Geno team. But I do like Nix a lot. Vegas's secondary is in utter shambles. But as I was saying, there's some idea that Noah Brown might have more success against the Cowboys. That might just be a nugget I picked up that confirms my priors, which was liking Noah Brown this week. But I'm going to choose to believe it, and I'm going to be sprinkling in a little late round Noah Brown myself. At tight end, I really like Otten. If I don't get Otten, then I probably want Jonnu. If I don't get Jonnu, I will take Hunter Henry. Only one person needs a tight end. I don't think in these 6-person battle royales, going double tight end makes a lot of sense. You just don't have to do that this week. I don't think people are doing it. Okay, so this guy does take Kittle, so we should end up with Otten. I will go on autopilot to fire up another draft. So we will end with Nix, CMC, Montgomery, JSN, Sutton, and probably Cade Otten, and move on to the next one. Again, thank you, dear viewer, for joining. Glad to have you. Hope you're enjoying it somewhat. Hope you're having a good Saturday. It is a freezing day here, so going outside, not a lot of fun. Good day to just rip some BRs, watch a little college football, and get ready for tomorrow. We are waiting for 2 more. Waiting for 1 more, and we are full. We are full up. All right, no one I recognize in here, although John Boy Beat sounds vaguely familiar, and he's got goat horns, meaning he has won one of these. So, assumption again, most people here know what they're doing. And it's interesting in the probably do a playoff one next. And there's an argument in the playoff ones that you'd rather have people that know what they're doing, because playoff, the gauntlet, or now this way too early wildcard contest, is really about stacking and people staying in their own lane. So you kind of see like, okay, that guy's taking, Lions and Texans. And you don't want to start trying to build a Texan stack, because that person's doing the same thing. They've already taken some of the better Texans. You're kind of just going to crash into them, and then you both are going to have crappy teams. People who are quote unquote better might stay in their lane. They might not just randomly take a one-off from a stack you're building because they have 5 one-offs, because they don't really know what they're doing. So there's some thought that you're better off in a room of sharp people than in kind of a free-for-all room, because you won't be able to construct a stack because you're going to get sniped. I think there's some wisdom to that. I think the fact of the matter is if you stack the wrong teams, you're not going to get out of a room no matter what. So I think that might actually be somewhat true, that you don't want people that are just complete wild cards taking whomever. we'll take Amon-Ra here. But also, I think it's a little galaxy brain to say like, oh, I just want people who are really good at this in my room. It's like, well, maybe it's analogous to the people that like play poker and say like, oh, these people, I'm losing because these people are so bad that they're, they don't know what they're doing and you can't predict them. It's like, well, maybe you're not as good as you think if you can't win in these donkey rooms. But BR is a little different because you literally, you can flip the cards in the Super Bowl week, and if you don't have the right stack, you lose. And if someone just randomly took, a piece of your stack and sank what you were doing, you're just done. So I think I'm going to take Ken Walker. I've been taking Monty, but I don't want Monty and Amon-Ra on the same team in a 6-man contest. Probably would have worked last week just because of how nuts the Lions went. I think that's more the exception to the rule. It's something more for dog bowls and 12-mans when you can have a couple of guys on the same team. It happens. I mean, there was a week where the Bengals stacks were what you needed. If you had Chase and Higgins and Burrow, you shipped. But again, that was like one week out of the whole year. Same with the Lions last week. And it's just you're drawing to a very thin outcome when you're stacking a running back and a wide receiver in a 6-man BR. So we see Jefferson and McBride go. Jaden Daniels, a little early, I think, for Daniels, based on... No, his ADP is 13, so it's not actually that early. I would love to get Bowers if that falls to me, but I'd probably love to get Kareem Hunt even more than Brock Bowers. This might be a Richardson Downs team with Amon-Ra as a bring back. That would be pretty strong if we could get that. But let's see what comes around. Nope, Hunt going in the third is more and more common, which is killer. Again, wish I did more of these earlier in the week when Hunt was just constantly available. We are up. I will just simply take Brock Bowers here. Don't need to overthink it. And let's see. I don't really like having a running back facing each other. It can get there, but it's typically a little bit negatively correlated. I think I'd rather have B-Rob against the Cowboys, assuming Coop Joe 13 doesn't take him, in which case I would take Josh Jacobs, because after Jacobs, it gets real dicey. You can make arguments for these people, but bad matchup, team with Tommy DeVito, tough defense and constant injuries, split workload. It gets gross. It gets gross. So I don't like, some weeks I really like mixing in the late running backs. I don't think this is the week where I'm too keen to do that. Kyler goes. JSN goes, Lamb goes. So again, people aren't going too far afield in these BRs, which makes me want to do things like this Richardson Downs play more, because, there's going to be wide receivers that kind of pop up out of nowhere that can really get there. You're telling me Xavier Worthy couldn't score 25 underdog points? Absolutely. DJ Moore. I mean, these are guys that should be getting drafted but aren't, because people just take these comfy clicks. They're, slavishly devoted to ADP, which I think is a mistake. but I like how this team's going to end up. He's not going to be able to get downs because he's already full. So we will have Richardson, Walker, B-Rob, Amon-Ra, Downs, and Bowers, which I think is a pretty strong team. So we will put on autopilot and fire up a playoff best ball. Oh, the Deposit Kingdom Weekly League. Why don't we try to run one of those? Let's try to get one of those. Waiting for 2. Waiting for 1. Still waiting for 1. Give me 1 moment. We are still waiting for 1. I guess that's the trouble with some of these other contests. They don't fill quite as fast. I would think on a Saturday this would have filled a little quicker, but alas, it is not. That is okay. All right, we are full up. So let's see who is in the room. Nobody I recognize, and 2 people without badges, which is somewhat surprising. These have all been fairly badge heavy, but we will see if we can ship something in this Deposit Kingdom contest, which is one of the better contests here on Underdog. I highly recommend you join these. I think, can't remember if this one's rake free or not, but regardless, it's a really good format. Okay, maybe it's reduced rake. Either way, smaller field, so it's actually winnable versus the big lottery, which is just really tough. I mean, obviously somebody wins it every week, but it is a very lofty goal to front page that tournament. I got, I believe, 9th in this tournament, like week 3. So you can get there. Can get there. Maybe it was 3rd. I finished pretty high in this one week, which made me think I was good at this, and then I lost like 4 weeks in a row. So we see CMC, A-Chain. Amon-Ra goes first. I'm gonna just take Mixon here. Not gonna fight the boomers with Joe Mixon here. He's too good. He is too good, and his volume is just off the charts. DJQ taking the clock down. Sometimes when things take a while to fill, people don't realize they do fill, and they end up auto drafting. But I don't think he is, because that's not who is next in ADP. So we will see. This may be my last draft of the day. Jefferson goes, Hill goes. I will take Montgomery here. I think that makes a lot of sense. Could end up with two very strong running backs. Jaden Daniels goes. He's someone I want more exposure to. But I keep finding myself missing out on him. I don't know if it's draft slot or overall strategy, but I should be getting more exposure to Daniels, who could easily end up being the highest scoring quarterback on the slate this week. I think I'll take Bowers if he falls to me. If not, yeah, I'm just going to take Bowers. Of course, the one-time Kareem Hunt is around. I already have two running backs, so I cannot take advantage of that, which is a little unfortunate. But we will take Bowers, maybe set up the Sutton-Nix stack. But I do not mind this for small field because these are all players I like. It's always annoying when you have a stack that you're really in on and you're building frequently, and then you have your 3 max tournament and you're like unable to get that stack for some reason. I kind of like to have my flag plants in these small fields so that if I am right, I have the best chance of hitting, because I had a ton of Bo Nix last week. Yes, he was outscored by Goff, but Bo Nix was also completely free. So you could compete with Goff teams with Nix as your quarterback. And so despite having a fairly good week, didn't end up with any big cashes. I just didn't have enough Taysom Hill last week, and he was sort of the keys to the kingdom. So we take Sutton here. Hopefully we'll get Nix. And then, maybe this is a time to take like a DJ Moore kind of play, or a Worthy. We'll see what receivers are left. I think I would take JSN over those guys. I think he is a step up from that. So if I look after me, they can't take receivers. They're full. So I would take JSN over Nick. I would take Nix over JSN. Because they do need quarterbacks. I could conceivably lose him. It also means that whatever receiver is available to me, I will be able to get. Jaden Reed makes a lot of sense. Downs is a good play. So I think I would like JSN if that becomes available. So he takes Reed. I'm going to take Nix. So this is fun because this is a team that I, sort of on paper might construct ahead of time and think that there's, potentially a lot of value. There's no scroll down guys, but I don't mind that as much in this small field. I think your odds of getting duped are pretty low. So I have no problem with this. I like JSN. So this is going to round out the team and will conclude the stream. Thanks to everyone who stopped by. I really appreciate it. If you're here after, please like and subscribe. It helps me out. It helps put this in front of more people so more people can come hang out. It's a lot more fun doing content when the chat is rolling. So again, this team will end up being Nix, Mixon, Montgomery, Sutton, Bowers, and JSN. So thank you all for joining. I really appreciate it. And yeah, take care, everyone.